What is up, everyone? I hope y'all are doing well. My name is Ishaan and welcome to the video. Man, today has been crazy. I've just had to do one thing after another and this is when I'm not even back to school yet, so I don't even know what's gonna happen starting next week. But I mean, if you've been keeping up with the videos recently, then you've noticed I've made a lot of videos about how I've faced a lot of rejections and failures in the past and how I kind of overcame them. And in today's video, I kind of want to go deeper or more specifics into what happened in summer 2020, what was happening leading up to it, how I got rejected from all my internship programs, and then how did I kind of get over that to really secure the research project that I had in hand for summer 2020. Let's get right into it. So to give a little bit of context, this was during the sophomore year, second semester for me, which was spring of 2020. And if you live in the real world, then you know this is when COVID was hitting around the world. I was in the US and it started hitting in March 2020, which is when we were sent back home for a spring break for a week. But after that, they were like, you know what, you can't come back anymore, and everything went virtual. And this is the time where all of the uncertainties began as to what summer was really gonna look like. And man, week after week, it was like I was continuing to apply for stuff, and I had this I was applying to research programs. There were certain ones that were like my reach ones, there were certain ones where I was like, I don't know if I will get in, and then there were also my safe ones where I was like, yeah, I think my application is pretty competitive where I should be able to get into these. And even though I had that safety net, man, most of my programs that I applied to got canceled because of COVID. And the other ones that went remote, there were like 2 or 3, I think, and those ones I got rejected. So yeah, I was without a project at hand by the end of April, I would say, which was 2 weeks before our semester was about to end. So yeah, man, I was in a very weird situation where things were getting canceled, things were going remote, and I still didn't have any research opportunities at hand for the summer. And I was also seeing my friends get into some stuff for the summer, which, I was really happy for them, but it also made me consider damn, if I want to build up my experience and further my skill set, then I need to still be on it and continue to look for things. And I think that's the drive that kept me pushing in order to really find something, because if I was just gonna lay around the house in the summer, I wasn't gonna be doing anything, and that wouldn't have been really conducive to my growth and my experience as a scientist. So the first idea that I had was that I was just going to reach out to professors for some advice or even research projects that they might have. And so I reached out to a couple of my professors, but one of them really responded, with a lot of enthusiasm and passionate about we should definitely do something remotely. And a funny story, this was actually the professor that if you've watched my other videos, then during my freshman year, the research that I did in the planetary mapping lab, it was with this professor, and I was actually taking the astrobiology class with him during my sophomore year as well. So I already had that relationship with him. He knew what skill set I had, what I can offer, and so he was just a really nice dude, man, and he's been serving as a mentor for me the past 4 years. And he reached out to some of his colleagues at NASA. I know, crazy, right? He's been involved in a lot of NASA space missions before, so he has a lot of connections. He's worked in that field, and he reached out to a couple of his colleagues, asked for some potential project ideas. Some of his colleagues got back. I ended up having to pick and choose the project that I would be working on, which is something that is just a privilege in itself, because not a lot of people get to do that. And this brings me to the point of how important it is to build connections with your professors while you're at school, because not only are they going to be your biggest advocates when it comes to your learning in the classroom and your learning outside in terms of experiential projects like research work, they're also going to be writing your recommendation letters down the line. And if this doesn't entice you, man, if you're someone like me who's really into the learning aspect of things, then realize that, man, these professors, they've been in the field for years, and they've done some crazy cool research projects that you probably don't even know exist in real life. Some things are just straight out of a sci-fi movie at this point. And that was my experience with Professor Collins, and that's the professor's name, by the way, that I've been mentioning. I don't know why I haven't mentioned the name yet, but yeah, there it is now. And that also brings me to the point of cold emailing, which I'm gonna make a few more videos about that on my channel, so be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and stay tuned for those videos, because cold emailing, man, that's a skill that as a student, if you master that, like, that can really take you a whole lot of places, like it did for me, and you'll hear all about that in some future videos. But yeah, man, getting back into the project for summer 2020, I got to choose a project that I like best, and got the opportunity to not only work with Professor Collins again, but also with another scientist from NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory. And the only sad part about this project was that it was unpaid, so I knew I had to secure funding from outside. So if you don't know, I'm a Posse scholar. I don't know if you all even know what the Posse Foundation is. Look it up on Google if you want, but I'll also make a few videos on that at some point on this channel, so hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, man. Like, don't sleep on it. But so as Posse scholars, we get this funding for summers, where if you're doing something that's unpaid, then Posse gives us like $3,000 for the entire summer, given you're working full-time for at least 6 weeks, and full-time constitutes 40 hours a week. So I laid out that project outline, I submitted the applications, it ended up getting approved, I got the funding, and that's how I ended up with the research project at hand during the summer of 2020, when all the COVID shit was going down, and got it funded at the same time. So let's get into what I was working on for that summer. So NASA has a mission called Dragonfly that's planned to go to Saturn's largest moon, Titan, in 2026 or 2027, I think, but it's not gonna get there until 2034, so there's still some time before it gets there. But man, Saturn's largest moon, Titan, is so cool because Titan is the only other place in our solar system that has like it has a dense nitrogen dominant atmosphere similar to our early Earth that gave rise to life first, and it also has liquid lakes on its surface, and it's actually the only other place in our solar system that has liquid lakes apart from Earth. But these lakes are not made of water, they're made of methane and ethane, because temperatures on Titan, man, they're super cold, like it's dumb brick. Imagine water, like you see rocks here on Earth. So water is basically a rock on Titan, like it's that cold. Like it gets so cold that water turns into a fucking rock. Like that shit is cold. But we have strong reason and evidence to believe that there might be precursors to biologically relevant molecules that are actually on Titan, and that's what one of the goals of the Dragonfly mission is. And getting into my research for the summer, what I was doing is I was looking at certain amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of proteins, and if they are formed on Titan, how long would they stay? That was my research. Now, amino acids are still a little complex in like they're simple molecules like we see it, because we have a complex perspective of what complex is. That made no sense. Keep going, it's fine. But the amino acids there can be potentially formed if there's liquid water around, because we do know that it houses a lot of small organic molecules that can synthesize those amino acids, only if there's liquid water present. But if it's so cold on Titan, where's the liquid water gonna be? Here's where things get interesting. If there's any sort of like meteor that hits, like a small thing, that hits Titan's surface, then it could heat up that surrounding area for some time, making liquid water available, which means that some certain chemical processes could drive and further form like more complex organics like amino acids and other precursors of life. And my job again was to just figure out how long would these amino acids remain intact if they are on the surface and trapped in the water ice layer. This is not necessarily the most important thing to know, but it is something that's basic and fundamental that if we can answer, then the Dragonfly mission scientists, they have a better idea of how they can use their scientific equipment to actually measure these things, and whether if these things are even gonna be measured. And man, I'm not gonna lie, after this research, like I fell in love with this kind of work, man. Like I've had a very strong interest in astronomy since I was a little kid, but I didn't really get to kindle that in school at any point until I got to Wheaton, where I took my astronomy courses, and I was like, so I was continuing to build up my background. But also at the same time, I fell in love with organic chemistry because I was taking my pre-med courses, and the culmination of it finally came together in astrobiology, where I was able to apply concepts from both realms. And man, planetary space missions, like, that's crazy. It sounds like a sci-fi movie to me, and it's just something that excites me to my core and makes me feel very fulfilled and happy. So I was really glad to realize my passion after that research project, and the fact that I fell in love with that kind of work. I continue to learn new things, and that's how I also, I mean, this is a spoiler, man, fuck, I'll just spoil it. I also worked on Dragonfly mission stuff in summer of 2021 as well, but I'll talk about that in another future video. And talking about the research work from summer 2020 again, you know, after I finished that up, I wrote like a research paper on it, applied to the Goldwater Scholarship. I ended up getting the Goldwater Scholarship. I applied to the American Geophysical Union Conference that was held in December 2020. I got accepted there. I had an oral presentation that I was giving, and the section that I was a part of was specifically for Titan stuff, and I was the only undergrad student that was actually there in that section, and it just made me feel very humbled and made me realize that there's still a whole lot that I have to continue on if I want to get into this field. And as I said, man, like, I fell in love with the work, and I think since then everything I've tried to do is something in relation to that, because I want to continue to build upon that. Anyways, that is all I've got for y'all in this video. I know I didn't go into like too many details or specifics of what I was working on in the project, but if you have any questions, definitely drop them down in the comments below. And if you want to like talk about this more, then definitely shoot me an email and see if we can set something up. But if you made it this far into the video, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for tuning in and your support, and I appreciate you so much. Be sure to smash that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video, and if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, man, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, because I release 2 new videos every single week, and I will catch all of y'all in the next video.